First and foremost, for the Hebrew Israelites come out here week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this kingdom, okay, and to also wake up our people, the number of Negro, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American descent, who are the tribes of, who are the true tribes of the nation of Israel, all right? And also we preach, as you all know, we preach the resurrection doctrine, which is the doctrine that Paul and the apostles were teaching back then, okay? And ultimately, our doctrine is of Yahawashi. That's really what we stand upon. That's the whole entire doctrine that we teach. All right? And not just that, but also things concerning prophecy, which that's of Yahawashi too. Because what does it say in Revelations? It says that the spirit of prophecy, I'm roughly paraphrasing, it says the testimony of Yahawashi is of prophecy, if I'm saying it correctly. It's in Revelations 19. Okay, so everything that we do is all through the spirit of Yahawashi anyway. So yeah, you can give me that.
So Revelation 19 and 10, and I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and the brethren that have the testimony of Yahawashi.
Right.
Worship the Most High. Right. For the testimony of Yahawashi is the spirit of prophecy.
Right. So I said it correct. It's the spirit of prophecy. So everything that we're dealing with, whether it's the history concerning the disciples 2,000 years ago, all the other prophecies, all right, or even things of that nature, all of the things that concerns the scriptures, we deal with that, and that's all of Yahawashi. Even the Holy Spirit is of Yahawashi. So now that I'm done with that, we're going to get 1 Corinthians 4 now. 2 Corinthians, right? 1 Corinthians 4, yeah. Oh yeah, no, we didn't actually. Yeah, so without further ado, this brother reminded me, we gotta give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, and that's how we started off. Sometimes you forget. You read that, bro.
So 1 Corinthians 4 and 1. Let a man so account of us, as of the ministers of Yahawashi, and stewards of the ministries of the Most High. Yeah. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. But with me, it is a very small thing that I should be a judge of you, or of man's judgment. Yea, I judge not mine own self. For I know nothing by myself, yet I am not hereby justified. But he that judgeth me is the Lord. Therefore judge nothing before the time, until the Lord come, who both will bring the light to the hidden things of darkness.
Yeah, keep going.
And will make manifest the counsels of the hearts. And then shall every man have praise of the Most High.
Yep.
Verse 6. And these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred to myself, to Apollos, for your sakes, that ye might learn in us not to think of men above which is written.
Yep.
That no one of you be puffed up for one against another.
Yep.
For who maketh thee differ from another? And what hast thou that thou didst not receive? Now if thou didst receive it, why dost thou glory, as if thou hadst not received it?
Right.
Now ye are full, now ye are rich, ye have reigned as kings without us. And I would to the Most High ye did reign, that we also might reign with you. Verse 9. For I think that the Most High have set forth us apostles last, as it were appointed to death.
Right, so the Lord sent the apostles last as it was appointed to death. Now, before we came on the scene, how was it? You had these characters like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and these were the figures that were supposed to set the nation upright. So they all fall apart because really they were all set up by Esau anyway. They were all set up by the powers that be, you know, to pretty much get our people to be influenced under some other doctrine or such, really of Christianity and Islam. got them on that, right? But that all fell because what happened was these two figureheads that were set up, they decided to teach the whole doctrine of Israel, or anything resulting back to the Bible. So they had to take them down. But ultimately, they didn't teach them the truth. That's our job. Our job is to tell you the complete truth of the matter. All right? So yeah, read on.
For I think that the Most High have set forth us the apostles' laws.
Right, so we're the last stronghold for the nation. And really, we're not out here for the entire nation. We're really out here for the elect of the nation of Israel. But although we're out there for the elect of the nation of Israel, we're still making awareness of this word. Okay, this word is still being propagated, and even the 2/3 of Israel recognizing the word. So when the Messiah returns, there's not going to be no, oh, I didn't know. Because you did know. Okay, we were all over the internet. We were all telling you about the things to come and what you ought to look out for. But you failed to recognize what we were telling you and to follow what was written therein. So let's read that.
As it were appointed to death, for we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men.
Right, so we're a spectacle unto the world, even unto the angels. And this is why a lot of people, they'll you know, on average, they'll come around here, or they'll probably stand over there and take pictures. Why? Because we're a spectacle unto the world. Because what we're doing is so different, it's so way out of touch of this world. It's like, man, I gotta take a picture of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see the tribes of Israel standing up before you. It's like it's a miracle. It's like it's magical. So they have to take a picture of it. And when you look up the word spect means to look. So we're objects of looking at. We're men of worthy of being looked at. All right? That's why people most of the times can't help but take pictures. Go on, bro.
But it said, we are fools for Yahawashi's sake.
Right, we're fools for Yahawashi's sake. Coming out here with the garments and the robes, shouting at the top of our lungs at times. You know, so we look like fools. But let's read on.
But we are wise in Yahawashi.
We are wise in Yahawashi. So we're pretty much fools for the Lord's sake. We could be fools for man's sake, or for somebody else's sake, but we're fools for the Mashiach's sake. And even on that, that's a sacrifice. Right? We put our emotions to the side, and we came to the conclusion that, look, this is what we gotta do, okay? And put our lives on the line and embarrass ourselves to a certain degree, which I'm not embarrassed, because I've been doing this for too long to be embarrassed, or to feel ashamed of it, okay? And I don't feel ashamed of this doctrine anyways.
Right.
Go on, brother. You know, if you feel ashamed of this thing, man, then you gotta go do some soul searching, man. Go on, man.
We are weak, but ye are strong. Mm-hmm. Ye are honorable, but we are despised.
Right. Keep going.
Even unto this present hour, we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted.
Right. Keep going.
And have no certain dwelling place.
Right. Going back to the curses, give me that Deuteronomy 28, bro. It says, for the one of all things, you should get it for your enemy. So yeah, we have no dwelling place. When you look at the whole nation of Israel, we don't own any form of corporation in this society at all. So when you don't own anything, guess what? You have to depend on somebody that does own something. Right? It's like, if you don't own a house, you're homeless, and then guess what? You have to go depend on somebody else that has a house. You understand what I'm saying? And when you look up the word economy goes back to the word house. So when you don't have your own house, you're going to be dependent. So let's read this.
Deuteronomy 28, 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord Yahweh by Sham Yahawashi shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness.
Right, and in thirst and in nakedness.
And in the want of all things.
And in the want of all things. So this is why Paul said what he said. Let's read that again, brother.
This is back in 1 Corinthians 4 and 11. Even unto this present hour, we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted, and have no dwelling place.
Right, and even Paul, and that's what was going on back then 2,000 years ago. The Israelites had no, even though they had their their setup in Jerusalem, we had our own setup in Jerusalem. But who was the superior society at the time? who was the greater empire at the time was ancient Rome. So ultimately, Jerusalem was really under the empire of Rome. Okay, although they had their own land and they could keep their own laws, but they were allowed to keep their laws under the power of Rome. So when somebody owns your house or your land at the time, guess what? You're a servant, you're a slave. Okay, it's like how it is now. If you look at these islands, if you look at these islands in down in South America, Western Islands, they're nothing but what you call slave colonies. That's all they are. Because who's running these colonies? Esau's running them all. So going back to what I'm saying, if someone else is running your house, you have the house. So Jake is in a state of being dependent because Jake don't own that. Okay? And this is why Jake gotta bust their ass, get up early in the morning to go to do work. Because they're not doing work because they want to do work. They're doing work because they gotta put food on the table. They gotta pay rent. All right. But if Jake had their own ship, they wouldn't have to depend on the next man for that. Go on, bro. Let's read that.
Verse 12. And Laban.
I'll tell you what. Hold down. Let him finish this. 48.
Start again. Verse 48. Wherefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord Yahawashi Yahawashi.
So it didn't say you're going to serve your best mates, your best mate Pete or Jamie. It says you're going to serve your enemies for one or more things. So that means you're going to be naked. That means you're going to be without your own corporation, your own setups. Right? That means you have to be in somebody else's house because you have no house of your own. Go on, bro.
Shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things.
Right, and this is something that the real Jews, the Israelites, would go through in the last days. So if those people over there in Israeli land, if they're the real Jews, they should be experiencing what we're experiencing right now. Being under your enemies and having to serve all of your enemies, all of them other nations. They should be experiencing that, but they're not. They run all of the most important things of this world, and plus they're getting billions of dollars of wealth every year. So how are they in a destitute situation? How do they fit the prophecies in Deuteronomy 28? They don't. And if they don't fit these prophecies, because they're not the people. Go on, brother.
Revelation 2 and 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty.
You see how the Spirit of the Lord provided the topic? You see that? Because I had nothing to really talk about. Now we talk about something.
But thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Right, they are the synagogue of Satan, man. Now the word Satan means adversary, to be adverse, and they're the chief house. And it makes all the sense in the world because they're the head of Edom. Okay, they're the head portion or the aristocracy of Edom. So yeah, indeed, they're the chief house of Satan himself. And they call all the shots. They own all the natural resources, which naturally makes you rich anyway. All right, they own and run the media. But to the point where they got the mass of the people mind manipulated their food into believing in the foolishness that they propagate on the TV. You understand? That's how powerful these people are. But yeah, they're the Jews. Come on, man. They can't be no Jews. In order for you to be a Jew, you gotta be of the tribe of Judah anyway. That's where you get the term Jew from the tribe of Judah. Or the word Judah, let me correct myself. So they're not the people, but who they are Edomites. And they're the one that's controlling this Roman Empire as it stands. They have access to the monetary fund system, which is what you call the IMF, which is responsible for controlling the different currencies of the world. And they then determine what currency is superior than the next currency, or what currency becomes inferior. So when you have power over the currencies of the world, guess what? You call it shots, baby boy. All right? And most of these men are Edomites, and most of them are proclaimed so-called Jews that are running the IMF bank, the IMF system. All right? Jake don't run no IMF system. Go on, then. Yeah, keep going. You're done with it, right? Yeah, let's read this now. Yeah, repeat it again.
Revelation 2 and 9, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty,
Right.
but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
Right, so he knows the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and they are not. Go on.
But are the synagogues of Satan.
And this is kind of twofold because John the Revelator was really talking about the Pharisees. It's the Pharisees, they were acting as though they were the Israelites of the Most High, and they were righteous and all of this other stuff. But really, they were a bunch of devils because they didn't believe in Yahawashi. They actually went up against him, so they were considered the Antichrist at the time. All right, go on, bro. Yeah. Now go back to Paul. Go back to what Paul said.
So 1 Corinthians 1 and 11, it's like 4 and 11. Even unto this present hour, we both hunger and thirst, and are naked and buffeted.
Yes, that's what Paul and them was going through back then in ancient Rome. Jake was experiencing being destitute, even though they had their own land, because they were under the Roman system, even as it is right now. You got all of these different countries and these lands, like India, for example, right? Even China, they're all under the empire that's greater. Okay, everybody had their own portion of land, but everybody had to come before the greater empire. And that's how it is right now. We live in more of what you would call a feudal system, which many don't believe. Many believe that we live in a true democracy, which the word democracy means the people rule. And there's no ruling of the people because people have been protesting for years, and most of what the people are protesting for, it hasn't been set up. Okay, it hasn't really happened. What you will find out when you understand the society and all societies, it was always about what the aristocracy had to say. All right, and they moved according to what they had in plan. They didn't care about the people, and that goes different. That's furthermore so than ever before. Keep going, bro.
And have no certain dwelling place, and labor working with our hands.
Right, and labor working with our hands, because when you look at the children of Israel, give me that Deuteronomy 7. Yeah, when you look at the children of Israel as a whole, we shouldn't really be working and laboring like that. That's something that the heathens are made to do. We're not made to be doing that. Okay, the Lord created us to be a special people and above all nations. So if that's the case, why are we working like slaves? Let's read this. Oh yeah, brother, get me Amos 3 and 2.
This is Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord Yahawashi thy power.
Right.
The Lord Yahawashi thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Right.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Right, and above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So if we're above all people that are upon the face of the earth, why is it that we labor so hard? Why is it that we have to bust our back? Okay, why is it that we have to get up early in the morning and tire ourselves out just so that we can keep this economy going? That has nothing to do with us. Because the Lord, we're going to get it. Let's get it. We're going to get Amos 3 and 2.
Amos 3 and 2. Ye only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Right, and that tells you right there that the Lord is only concerned of the nation of Israel. He's not concerned of the whole entire world, all the nations of the world. Now the Lord did create all of the nations of the world, but that's only because we need servants to build up things, to make us look good in the future. To build towers and to build altars and to build our walls up, to pave our streets with gold. When you read the book of Revelations 20, I believe it's 22, where it talks about how the roads were paved with gold. How is that going to be done if we don't have servants? Like Esau got servants. The banking elite, they got servants, and we're the servants. The average Joe is a servant. When you look up the word, even the word employ, when you look up the word employment or employee, right? The employee, he seeks out servants that are seeking for work. Somebody that's employed as a servant. When you look up the word, so the majority of the people are slaves, while you have the 1%. And you tell me we live in a democracy, right? Please give me a break. Go on.
So Amos 3 and 2. Ye only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Right.
Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Right, I will punish you for all your iniquity. Go on.
Can two work together? It's like, can two walk together except they be agreed?
Right, that's all you have to be. So yeah, the Lord will punish us because He only knew us and He only cares about us. Alright, so if the Lord cares about you, if you have a kid now and you cherish the kid over the other child, you're going to be more hard on the other kid because you want to make sure that he gets it right. So that's what the Lord is doing unto us. And this is why the world is looking at us crazy. This is why you have the media marginalizing us. That's just a bunch of idiots on TV. Alright? And we just floating around the damn place. So it's not a good look. And this is why it's evident that we need a Lord, we need a Savior. We need someone to change this whole entire setup. Because this society ain't right anyway. Everything's flipped upside down anyway. Okay, everything about this world, when you break this world down, it's not correct. It's not right. Okay, the powers that be, they don't know what they're doing. Just call it for what it is. I mean, it looks good. Great Britain looks good in the outside, but when you really understand how these kingdoms are operating, and I'm not just talking about England, I'm talking about all of these damn nations. The way that they're ruling their society is the wrong way, man. And the reason why that is because you have the main powers that be that are running the world down to hell because their vibration is of hell. Okay, so everybody's out there just flaunting around the place doing whatever they want to do without a care in the world. But if you had us in power with the right mentality as we do have, this whole entire earth would be set up just right. Perfect. Go on, bro.
So Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Right.
But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
Right. When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, and that's what's happening again. That further solidifies the idea that you have the people that's in power, they're the wrong people that's in power. All right. Because most people are out here depressed. Whether you go to Spain, whether you go to Portugal, whether you go here, anywhere in the world, most people you're gonna find that they're in misery. They're miserable. Or if they got a little something, they're still miserable. Why? Because the people that's in power now are a bunch of wicked Satanists that care not for the people at all. And the only thing that they care about is pretty much gaining from the people rather than giving to the people, or providing a better solution for this planet of the way to live. So Esau is not set up to provide a better way to live. He's providing whatever he's providing right now. All right, he's providing the people death and destruction. This is why we're breathing in, we're breathing in chemtrails, the aerosol in the air. We're breathing in this polluted air. All of these cars are running on gas when they don't have to run on gas. They can run on water. Even the plastic is not biodegradable where you can break it down. That's why you got so much garbage all over the place, man. So you know, just based on that, these devils, they don't really care about operating the planet the right way. The only thing they care about is making money. And while you're suffering, they're making money while you suffer. So this is why things have to change immediately.
That's right.
Okay? Go on, brother.
Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
And who is the righteous? The righteous is us. We're the righteous. We're the exemplification of what is right. All right? Now the so-called white man with the suit and tie on, he's the representation of being the devil.
That's right.
Okay? We got the historical accounts on it, so we don't have to act like I don't know what I'm talking about. All right? You know what I'm talking about. Okay? So let's shoot that again.
Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Right, the people rejoice. So when we get into the power seat, everybody's going to rejoice. Now, I'm not going to lie. We're going to do some ass kicking first.
Right.
That's what's going to happen, right? But once that's all said and done, all of the nations, they're going to be blessed because of us. They're going to keep the law, statutes, commandments, and they're going to be all right. Yeah, please, brother. If you got a precept, brother, what you got?
Yeah, this is Baruch. Baruch, chapter 3 and 8.
Yeah.
Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
Right, so it says we are yet this day in our captivity. So we're not free. You got people walking around saying they free. How are you free? Especially Jake, how are you free if you were the lower caste part of society? And and you have to depend on your job so you can pay rent and eat and just to eat, how are you free? If you free, then you should be to do way more than just doing that. Okay? No, the reality of the matter is you're a damn slave.
That's right.
That's the reality. No one's free. Okay? The media put that belief in your mind that you are free, but really you're a damn slave. Okay? And I'm talking about you tribes on this side there. So let's read on. Oh yeah. Hold on, brother.
Where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse.
Right, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse. Look, somebody look up that word reproach. You can't look. And that's the reality, man. Like you tribes out there, you so-called Negroes, you so-called Latino Native American Indians, you gotta realize what world you're living in, man. This ain't your rest, this ain't your world. You know, this is why you're the last high first fired, man. You understand? This is why the cops are able to run your ass down, shoot you down, do whatever. Because you have no part in the society. Now you may have a part in the society, but the only part that you play in the society is being a damn slave, man. And that's what you tribes gotta realize, man. Stop watching ET videos all day, okay, and get a taste of reality for once in your damn life, man. Keep going, brother.
Okay, verse 3 for a reproach and a curse, to be subject to payments.
Right, that's another thing, to be subject to payments. You're only working just so you can pay your shit. You're not working so you can go on a holiday. Like the original Edomites they got jobs or they may have their own businesses and they got enough money the way they can do that and go on a holiday every once in a week or so. You ain't got that kind of pleasure to do so. Alright, so even on that level, how the hell are you free? Again, how are you free? You're not even free on a financial tip.
According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power.
Right, so that's why we're at the bottom. That's why the people that are supposed to be exalted above all nations are at the bottom, because they've sinned against their power. That's the reason why. But this is why the Messiah has to make a second return. As everybody likes to say, Jesus Christ, right? The reason why he's coming back the second time, so he can set his nation above all nations. And then perform the second covenant, which we can get in the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter. It talks about how the laws are going to be within our inward parts. So once that happens, we're going to be in our right state of mind, right? And we're going to have the right mindset to rule this earth in the right way. Because if our mindset is all based on the laws, then we're going to operate based on the laws. You see that? So, you got the word, yeah? We keep reading on until he gets there.
He got it. Definition of the word of reproach is to express to someone one's disapproval or disappointment in their actions.
Right.
The expression of disapproval or disappointment.
Right, this means disappointment. So we're in a disappointing situation. When you really take a look at the real world, it's not something to laugh about or giggle about or shun. It's something that's, and if you're saying, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, we are doing something about it. What we're doing here is we're ushering the second coming of our Lord.
Right.
So we are doing something about it. We're making a complaint to Yahawashi. And you better believe he's hearing our prayers. Pursuant to the book of Proverbs, man. Let me see if I can find that this morning. Because the prayer of the righteous is heard. Then he compares it to the clouds.
Yep.
Yeah, read what you got.
Isaiah 2:1. The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains.
Right, so is that happening right now? Hell no. That's not happening right now. You mean to tell me those Israeli gutter-rats over there in Israeli land, that's the house of the Lord? You ought to be kidding me right now.
That's right.
No, the house of the Lord is talking about us. We're the building blocks of that house. AKA known as the house of David. We're the building blocks of that house. You got people out there that are trying to literally build the third temple when that has nothing to do with prophecy. Okay, we're the exemplification of what is it, the third temple that's being built. Okay, we are the third temple. Let me put it that way, man. We don't, brothers.
That the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain.
Right, meaning above all the governments around the world. So has that happened any time in history? No, it's not recorded. Now we can say that Solomon ruled for 40 years. The so-called black man from the tribe of Judah, he ruled for 40 years. But that was just only 40 years. So if it wasn't recorded in history, that means it's a prophecy, something that's going to take place in the future. Go on.
And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord,
Right.
to the house of the power of Jacob,
Okay.
and will teach us of his ways.
So that's ultimately going to happen. Like I said, that hasn't happened throughout the history of time. And that's not, that's it happened now. Because if that was happening right now, every nation under the sun would be going down to Israel again to go learn of their ways. Or most of them anyway. They would go down to Israel and learn of their ways. But that's not happening right now. What's happening right now is that most people despise and hate those people over there that are proclaimed Israelis. Okay? So that's not happening. So when is that going to take place? When we're put back in that land of Jerusalem. When we're put back in that land through the Messiah, then these prophecies are going to take place. So let's read the prophecy in Isaiah 2.
And shall be exalted above the hills. It's
Mainly like
Verse 3. The house of the power of Jacob,
Yeah.
and he will teach us of his ways,
Yeah.
and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the Lord.
Right, so it says, for out of Zion shall go forth the Lord. So they're going to be setting up the law or promulgating the law to the nations. The laws that will keep mankind intact, rather than keeping mankind in the state of discombobulation, like how it is right now. This is why people are doing whatever they want to do, making a damn fool out of themselves, getting drunk in the middle of the street because there's no proper law, there's no substantial law of the Heavenly Father that's setting the people in correct order. This is why you have a lot of people that are born into this world in a shitty situation. They're either born with no parents, right, or they're born with no father in the house. All right, or if they do got parents, most likely going to be shitty parents. Okay, because the powers that be, or the heads of this kingdom, or a kingdom, this kingdom over here, they're not running society in the right order. Come on, brother.
And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
In the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So they're going to even know about the history of what's written in this Bible too, to a certain degree. Go on.
Verse 4. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people.
Right, he shall judge amongst the nations and rebuke many people. Those Israelis have not done that. There's no time in history that those people have ever done that, where they've went throughout the nations and conquered the nations and made them to be subjects under the law, statutes, and commandments. That's never happened. So does that mean it's never going to happen? No, it's a prophecy, something that's going to take place in the future. When we get back into that land of Israel. Go on, brother.
In that land of Israel today, you've got something known as Pink City, which is in Tel Aviv, which is the biggest gay parade on the planet Earth.
Exactly.
That's not in the law.
That's not keeping the law. That's going against the law. And the law tells you that if two men be found lying down as a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, and they shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. That's what it says in the Torah. As they like to quote the Torah so much, they don't bring that law into effect. So they're not the people of the Lord, man. If we were in that land, there would be no such thing as no damn Tel Aviv, man. No damn Pink City. Excuse me. Go on.
It says, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation,
Right.
neither shall they learn war